Judge Hatchett is compelling,
I was not the first one to throw a walk.
Let me just tell you what you just said.
compassionate,
I really enjoy being a judge. Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
she's powerful,
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
and she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
She's powerful,
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
and she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
I'm Terrence Coleman, former Superior Court judge in Fulton County, Georgia. Today we look at a Sunday school bullying dispute and a rideshare payment feud. Subscribe for more.
Oh, Miss James, Miss Hill. This makes me sad. It just makes me sad. And I understand that we have Dr. Green, who will be the expert who will offer information on this case. I've read the complaint. I understand, Miss James, that you have a little girl who was put in a Sunday school class that Miss Hill taught. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that basically in your complaint that you're saying that your child was harassed and bullied. As a result, she has regressed, that she wets her pants now, that she is in treatment with Dr. Green.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you feel that Ms. Hill's actions have been responsible. Tell me succinctly what happened.
Well, Your Honor, my daughter was super glued to a toilet seat. In her
Wait. She was super glued to
Yes,
a
ma'am.
toilet seat. How did that happen?
This woman did not know how to control her classroom, and my daughter suffered because of it. Okay, I went on the day of the incident to pick up my little JC, okay, and she was wet from the bottom down. She was hysterically crying, and I said, "Baby, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And she said, "Mommy, the kids, they super glued me." Okay, and I was hysterical. I went to her and I tried to get this. This is what she was wearing that day, Your Honor, and this skirt was glued to her skin. I took her home and I could not get it off of her. We had to go to the emergency room, okay, where the doctors told me that in order for this to be this stuck, it must have been some sort of strong adhesive like super glue. They had to use a liquid solvent to remove it off of my baby.
Miss Hill, hold on just a second. Miss Hill, what do you know about this situation?
I wasn't aware of anything happening that day until our director of education called me later that night to say that JC had to go to the emergency room after class and to ask me what I knew about it. And I didn't know anything. JC hadn't told me anything about it. We had used school glue in the classroom that day for one of our craft projects, but never super glue.
It wasn't
I would
school glue,
never
Your
have.
Honor. It was not school glue.
I would
It was
never
super
allow
glue.
6-year-olds to have super glue,
Well,
and we
let
don't
me-
have any.
You know,
in the
I'm a
classroom.
parent, and so I know the difference between glue that's used in a classroom and super glue, because the glue that's used for children's classrooms activities is soluble.
Yes,
I mean, you
ma'am.
can get water to basically dissolve it. So clearly something else has to have happened
Absolutely.
before we got to the situation where this child has super glue all over her.
This specific incident took place last December. Okay, and I know it was super glue, Your Honor, because I took my baby to the store and I said, "JC, baby, I want to know what those little girls, what were they saying? What were they waving in your face and harassing you with?" And this is what she pointed out. We took our time in the aisle, and then she said, "Mommy, this is the one. This is the one here."
And if that's what it was, it did not come from my classroom. I was new to this community at one time too, and I know how difficult it is to integrate into, we're in a very small town and everybody there knows everybody else, and I know how difficult it can be to try to fit in. And so I tried to be welcoming and welcome Maura and JC, and I loved having JC in the classroom, and I wanted her to be happy, to be able to come to church and Sunday school and have fun and be happy.
But that's not what happened.
All right, so let's start. Let's start again on this. You say in your complaint that you filed with the court that Ms. Hill basically bullied your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to understand how that happened.
She bullied her. She singled her out in the classroom. She was always singled out.
How did she single her out?
She told a story, I believe.
only
Let
time-
me finish. She told
And then
a
I'm gonna give you a
story.
chance, Miss
She
Hill.
told a story about the Good Samaritan, and she singled out how my little JC is different from all the other Good Samaritans.
How would your daughter be different?
She's different, Your Honor, and I believe she's been treated differently because she is a biracial little girl. That's what this is about. I'm a biracial mother, and JC has a black father, and this community and this monster of a woman has mistreated my daughter.
Did you single this child out, Ms. Hill?
The Good Samaritan incident, the only reason that came up was because Maura told me about an incident that happened out on the playground about some of the girls not being kind to JC. And so I told them the story because in the Bible that story is brought up in response to the question, who is my neighbor? And I wanted the kids to see that we're all equal in the eyes of God and we need to love one another and treat each other as we would want to be treated.
Did you make the parallel to the Good Samaritan because the Good Samaritan was new to the community, or did you make the parallel to the Good Samaritan because the Good Samaritan was different from the people in that community?
No, that was new to the community and was the hero of the story, that the people, the priest and all the other people who passed by the victim and didn't help were the people who thought they were the good people in the community, but they weren't. It was the Samaritan was the one that was the hero.
Did you ever think that Miss James was inadequate as a parent?
No, I never.
So in your
pointed
heart
that
of hearts, you never criticized her.
No, ma'am.
You never criticized her, just a second. You never looked down upon her because of who she is?
No, ma'am.
You never had an issue with her being biracial?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am? And you say that's not true?
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
And
In
when
the
I find
classroom,
out that things
something
happen,
this bad-
Focus. It doesn't matter what you convince her of. It matters that you talk to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And later,
She's always trying to baby and mommy this whole situation. She never enjoys the time.
You weren't in any state to be able to make your own decisions, and the decisions that you were trying to make were extremely dangerous.
The Verdict is back with the case of Maura James, who is suing Sunday school teacher Nancy Hill for emotional distress.
Now tell me why it's not true.
Because there have been several incidents where my little JC has felt singled out.
Tell me.
She comes home and she tells me about how the kids do not involve her in their playground activities.
But those are things that are happening out in the playground. That's not in my classroom. I have no
But you're the
control over
teacher.
that.
You are
I
responsible
don't-
for all
there are
care
other-
of these students.
No, there are other playground supervisors. I'm a volunteer that have the children for 1 hour once a week in my
That is not
classroom.
that's not an
But I can't-
excuse. That should this
I'm not-
it doesn't
no,
matter
I'm
if it
not
takes
trying to
place
make
on the playground
excuses.
or
And
in
when
the
I find
classroom.
out that things
Something
happen-
this bad.
Focus. It doesn't matter what you convince her of. It matters that you talk to me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? So talk to me.
Okay.
Not to Miss Hill.
Okay. I don't want to talk to her, so okay.
Go ahead.
I am just saying that my daughter has been mistreated by this woman and by this community and by this church. And it is because she is biracial. That is the reason why.
And how do you know that? How do you know that Miss Hill has mistreated your precious daughter because she's biracial? You gotta tell me.
In the beginning, I used to get some behavior notes from Miss Hill saying that JC spends too much time in the bathroom.
One time.
And that she's
One
going to get
time.
stuck in the bathroom. And, you know, I don't know why she spends so much time in there. And I can tell you, Your Honor, it's because of good hygiene. It's just something that me and my boyfriend have taught my daughter, which is to thoroughly wash your hands.
And I sent home a note one
Yeah,
time.
tell me about
because
the note, Ms.
I
Hill.
was concerned that JC was spending so much time in the bathroom. I was concerned that maybe there was a medical issue or some other reason that she was in the bathroom
Well,
so
did you
long.
go in and check on her?
Absolutely, and checked and asked, you know, if everything was okay, and if also she was spending so much time in there because she was unhappy in Sunday school or something. I'd want to know about that too, because I want her to be happy and I want her to feel welcomed there.
So you never criticized her in front of the other children about being in the bathroom?
No.
Did JC say that she had been criticized?
Yes, she has. She
And
has
what did she
told
tell
me,
you?
She has told me that my teacher makes fun of me, Mom. My teacher makes fun of me, and the other kids don't like me. She has also.
Why would I do that
She
to a
has also
6-year-old?
said this in her therapy sessions with Dr. Green.
I'd like to hear from Dr. Green. Dr. Green, if you come, you've had this precious child in therapy sessions for how long?
2 months.
For 2 months. And tell me, it is your expert opinion, what is going on?
Right, so she feels like she's being teased and bullied at the Sunday school, and she feels like she's almost treated differently. Her emotional and mental distress might be caused by the Sunday school incidents because she feels like she enjoys going to day school. She doesn't feel pressured in other situations. She feels, happy and content at her elementary school. She has friends outside.
In your counseling sessions with this child, have you picked up that she may have been singled out because she was biracial?
Right. She definitely felt like she was different than the other students, especially since she says she'll see other students being picked up by both of their parents, afterwards, and she'll notice that she's just picked up by her single mother. She started feeling maybe she's different than the other students.
Ms. Hill, in this Good Samaritan story, did you ever refer to the Good Samaritan as being mixed breed?
No, ma'am.
Never?
No. I said that she was someone that the people in the Hebrew community would see as someone that was different from them. I said that.
Ms. James, there has not been enough evidence for me to be able to connect directly the trauma that your child obviously is experiencing with Ms. Hill. But my own personal feeling is that you need to get that child out of that Sunday school.
I have.
You need to get her out of there.
I have taken her out of that Sunday school.
Oh my goodness, she doesn't need to be in there because I think that they are being judgmental.
Yes, Your
Honor. I think that there has been some rippling effect for your daughter.
Yes.
But unfortunately, given the evidence that's before me today, I am unable to award you the $1,400+ that you're requesting for this court. And therefore, I am ruling in favor of the defendant, and your case is dismissed. That is the order of the court, so ordered.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
Maura, I still feel terrible about this whole incident, and I'm so sorry it happened. I hope you know that you and JC are welcome to come back to church anytime, and I hope you do.
No, although Judge Hatchett ruled in your favor, you know that you were wrong morally.
Coming up.
For her safety, I made the decision that we needed to get out of there.
Stop right there. Wouldn't you say she's out of control?
Never agreed to ordering the ride.
All right, Miss Ashby and Miss Taylor. Best friends? Were best friends? Former best friends? So what happened? What happened? Why couldn't you all work this out? Tell me what happened.
Well, on New Year's Eve, Ashley and I went out partying, and Ashley paid the ride share on the way there, which was $30, and then I agreed to pay the $30 fare on the way home. However, because of her completely out of control partying and drinking, we had to leave early. For her safety, I made the decision that we needed to get out of there.
Stop right there. Wouldn't you say she's out of control? Drinking? What happened?
Well, she's flirting with a whole bunch of different guys, 3 or 4, making out with several of them. She just met them, and they looked extremely shady.
Overstatement.
You, in your complaint, say that you were concerned that she was going to leave with a total stranger.
She told me that she wanted to go home with one of these men that she had just met who looked rather skeezy.
Skeezy? What does that mean?
Shifty,
Shifty.
shady.
Oh, I know what shifty means.
Just not
shady?
Yeah, not out for your best interest.
Now, do you all have, as I understand from the complaint, that you have this pact?
We do.
And
yes.
tell me about this pact, because I just think this is wonderful. Really.
I was going to bring it up with you as well. I think every woman should have this when they go out to parties. You go together and you leave together. You make sure that your friend is safe getting to a party and safe getting home with a party, as well as safe at the party.
Can we say an amen to that? I see so many women in the courtroom today who are nodding their heads.
Coming up.
How dare you not pay her? How dare you come into my courtroom contesting this charge?
The verdict is back with the case of Michelle Ashby, who is suing her former friend Ashley Taylor for $250.
What would have happened had she not intervened? Exactly. Perhaps you would be just fine, but perhaps, and this is a teachable moment, you would have gone off with a stranger too intoxicated to really make a good judgment about your own welfare, and we may never have seen you again. You get that?
Yes, ma'am.
And so we have a ride share. It's $250. Why not pay her?
Well, I wasn't the one that pushed the surcharge and said I wanted to request the ride now. She did. We could have
And
waited.
Why did she do that? Because she was concerned about you. Do you think she wanted to leave the party early? Honestly.
My night had already been ruined because I couldn't even, I'm also, a 20-something. I wanted to also flirt and, find some, people to hang out with, but I was too busy worrying about you to really even enjoy the party. So I didn't want to leave either, but...
She's always trying to baby and mommy this whole situation. She never even lets loose. So how is she supposed to know? She never enjoys the time.
You weren't in any state to be able to make your own decisions, and the decisions that you were trying to make were extremely dangerous. So honestly, I did press the request button, Your Honor. I did request the ride share.
Thankfully, you did.
But yeah, I don't think that is something to be contested here.
There's no question in my mind.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return.
Look, you could have said, wow, I don't want to have to pay half of $250. I don't want to have to leave the party. She's making a fool of herself. She goes off with some stranger. What you said is, we have a deal. You are my best friend, and I am going to make sure that you're all right. How dare you not pay her? How dare you come into my courtroom contesting this charge? I don't care that you didn't request it. Thank goodness you had a great friend who cared enough about you to get you out of that situation. You're gonna pay every single dime. In fact, you're going to pay the full $250 because she did not have to incur this because of your foolishness. So my order is $250 in favor of the plaintiff. So ordered.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $250.
I think the judge made the correct decision, and I'm just really glad that she saw my side of things.
Well, I think the judge was a little harsh, and I'm definitely not partying with you again.
Case 1. Maura James versus Nancy Hill. Maura James sued Nancy Hill, her daughter's Sunday school teacher, for $1,416 in emotional damages, alleging that Hill's negligence created a hostile environment where her daughter, JC, was bullied. The most severe incident occurred when JC was superglued to a toilet seat by classmates. Maura testified that her daughter was traumatized, regressed emotionally, and required therapy. She accused Hill of poor classroom supervision and implied racial bias, as JC is biracial. Hill denied responsibility, claiming she never permitted superglue in class and was unaware of the incident until later. She argued only standard school glue was used for crafts. Maura contended Hill singled JC out in lessons, notably in a story about the Good Samaritan, portraying JC as different. Hill defended her intent, saying she used the story to teach inclusivity, not exclusion. Expert testimony from Dr. Green, JC's therapist, confirmed that JC felt bullied and different, particularly for being biracial and from a single-parent home. JC expressed feelings of exclusion both on the playground and in class. However, Judge Hatchett ruled there was insufficient evidence to directly connect Hill to JC's trauma. While sympathetic and urging Maura to remove JC from that Sunday school, the judge dismissed the case in Hill's favor. The judgment underscored a lack of concrete proof linking Hill's actions to the emotional distress. Case 2. Michelle Ashby versus Ashley Taylor. Michelle Ashby sued her former best friend Ashley Taylor for $250, the cost of a rideshare. On New Year's Eve, they had agreed to split fares. Ashley paid the outbound ride, and Michelle was to cover the return. During the night, Ashley allegedly became extremely intoxicated, flirted with multiple strangers, and attempted to leave with an unknown man. Concerned for her safety, Michelle ordered a rideshare at peak pricing, totaling $250, and insisted Ashley reimburse half. Ashley refused, claiming she never agreed to that particular ride request and argued Michelle babied her too much. She admitted Michelle ordered the ride, but framed it as unnecessary. Michelle countered that her intervention possibly prevented Ashley from making dangerous choices, emphasizing their mutual pact to always ensure each other's safety during outings. Judge Hatchett strongly reprimanded Ashley, stressing the importance of friendship, responsibility, and women protecting one another. She noted Michelle's actions likely prevented harm and rejected Ashley's refusal to pay. Instead, the judge ordered Ashley to pay the full $250, ruling Michelle should not bear costs caused by Ashley's reckless behavior. Key themes: accountability and responsibility. Both cases explore whether individuals in positions of trust, a teacher, a friend, failed their duty of care. Bias and exclusion. The first case highlights racial sensitivity, integration struggles in small communities, and the impact of perceived bias on children. Friendship and safety. The second case illustrates loyalty and intervention, where one friend prioritized safety despite social tensions. Judicial balance. Judge Hatchett blended empathy with firm rulings, acknowledging emotional harm in Case 1 but requiring proof, and decisively protecting safety in Case 2. Key verdicts. Case 1, James v. Hill. Dismissed. Defendant favored. Case 2, Ashby v. Taylor. Plaintiff awarded full $250.